In life, many of us find ourselves in situations that are far from ideal, whether it's a job that we've outgrown or a relationship that's no longer fulfilling. Interestingly, we often persist in these circumstances longer than we should, despite knowing deep down that a change is necessary. In today's video, we'll explore 3 common reasons why we stay in a job or relationship for too long and what to do about it. I'm Jo Banks. I've been a professional executive business coach for almost 15 years, and I'm sharing what I know. Before I get into the detail of today's topic, I would be so incredibly grateful if you could just take a moment to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because it really does make such a massive difference to helping me build this channel. So I really appreciate it if you do that. As you can imagine, the reasons why we stay too long are varied and different in lots of situations. However, there are some very common reasons, which is what we're going to look at now. Number 1, fear. Fear is a potent emotion that can keep us firmly anchored in situations that no longer serve us, whether that's fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of rejection, or even fear of success. These anxieties can act as powerful obstacles to change. In the context of a job or a relationship, fear can manifest in various ways, and it often stops us from taking necessary steps to move us forward. Fear of the unknown. The unknown can be daunting. Leaving a job or a relationship that we've grown accustomed to means venturing into uncharted territory. We may fear the uncertainties that come with change, such as financial instability or being alone. Fear of failure. We're often afraid of the potential negative outcomes associated with leaving a familiar situation. This fear can paralyze us, causing us to stick with the status quo, even if that's causing us unhappiness. Fear of rejection or judgment. Leaving a job or a relationship can sometimes invite criticism or judgment from others. This fear of what people might think can make us hesitate to make the necessary changes in our lives. Fear of success. This seems like a weird one. Why would you be scared of something that you want? I know fear of success is quite a biggie for me. And again, it's all about uncertainty. If you're successful, it means that things will change, and you don't necessarily know what that looks like. People's perceptions of you might change. You may need to do things that you don't want to do or that you hadn't anticipated. Dealing with fear. Overcoming fear requires a shift in perspective and courage to take action. It's essential to recognize that fear is a natural response to change and uncertainty. To address it, consider the following steps. Visualize positive outcomes. I know this sounds a bit woo-woo, but it's proven in sports science that visualization or mental rehearsal works. So it stands to reason that it has to work in everyday life as well. So to use visualization, focus on the potential benefits of leaving the situation, such as personal growth, better opportunities, and increased happiness. Seek support. Talk to friends, family, a therapist, or a coach like me who can provide you with guidance and emotional support during this challenging time. Set small, manageable goals. Break down the process of change into smaller, less intimidating steps, making it more manageable and far less fear-inducing. Do a reframe. I love a good reframe. Often, with some of my clients who are procrastinating over making a change, I'll do a reframe with them. I'll get them to think about how their life will be in 6 months, a year, or even 5 years down the line if they don't make the change. Typically, it's very sobering and really does galvanize people into action. Number 2, sunk costs. The sunk cost fallacy, also known as the sunk cost effect, that's SUNK, is a cognitive bias that occurs when we continue investing time, money, or effort into a project or decision because we've already invested significant resources, even when it's clear the additional investments are unlikely to yield a positive return or benefit. In other words, we make decisions based on what we've already sunk into a situation rather than evaluating the situation objectively and based on future potential outcomes. This fallacy is rooted in the idea that we tend to avoid feeling that our initial investment was a waste, so we persist in our current course of action to justify or rationalize our prior commitments. However, this irrational behavior can lead to poor decision making as it disregards the present and future costs and benefits. For example, we've established a substantial amount of time, maybe decades, into a company, job, or relationship, and instead of cutting our losses and moving on to more promising opportunities, we continue to stay because we can't accept that our initial investment hasn't worked out. So we make ourselves incredibly unhappy. Sunk costs are resources, whether that's time, effort, or money, that we've already invested in a particular situation. The fallacy of sunk costs arises when we feel compelled to continue investing in something like a job or relationship because of all we've already given up, even if it no longer brings us value or happiness. Psychological commitment. The more we invest in a job or relationship, the more psychologically committed we become to that investment. We may convince ourselves that we can't leave because of all the time and effort that we've put in. Emotional attachment. Over time, we develop emotional attachments to our investments. These emotional investments can make us feel obliged to stay in a situation, even when it's no longer fulfilling. Regret aversion. We may fear the regret of acknowledging that we've wasted time or energy on a job or relationship that hasn't worked out, which can lead to staying longer than necessary. Dealing with sunk costs. To overcome the influence of sunk costs, it's crucial to embrace a rational perspective and consider the opportunity cost of staying in a situation that isn't serving your best interests. Here's how to deal with it. Re-evaluate the situation. Take a step back and assess the current state of your job or relationship objectively. Is it bringing you happiness, growth, and fulfillment? If not, acknowledge the opportunity cost of staying. Consider the future. Focus on the potential benefits and happiness that can come from redirecting your resources, time, effort, money, etc., towards something more meaningful. Embrace the learning experience. Instead of viewing past investments as wasted, see them as valuable learning experiences that have contributed to your personal growth. Number 3, status quo bias. And no, I don't mean the group. The status quo bias is a cognitive bias that makes us prefer maintaining our current situation, even if it's suboptimal, rather than embracing change. We are naturally inclined to stick with what's familiar as it requires less mental effort and perceived risk. One of my favorite sayings that clients and delegates must be sick of hearing by now is that our brain would prefer to keep us in known pain rather than move us towards potential pleasure. Comfort in routine. Familiarity often equates to comfort. We are naturally drawn to the predictability and routine of our current job or relationship, even if it's unsatisfying. Cognitive effort. Embracing change, such as searching for a new job or ending a relationship, requires a significant cognitive effort. The status quo bias makes us resist such change in favor of mental ease that comes with the familiar. Avoidance of risk. The unknown carries perceived risks, and the status quo bias makes us even more risk averse. We may stay in a job or relationship because we believe it's the safer option, despite its shortcomings. Dealing with status quo bias. Overcoming the status quo bias involves recognizing that change can bring new opportunities and greater happiness. Here are some strategies to address this bias. Challenge your comfort zone. Actively seek out new experiences and embrace challenge on a smaller scale to become more comfortable with the idea of leaving your current situation. List the potential benefits. Create a list of the advantages and opportunities that come with the change. By visualizing the positive outcomes, you can combat the inertia of the status quo bias. Set specific goals. Define your personal and professional goals and evaluate whether your job or relationship aligns with these goals. If not, use these goals as a motivation for change. The wrap up. Staying in a job or relationship for too long, even when it's no longer serving you, is a common human experience. Fear, sunk costs, status quo bias can all be powerful psychological barriers to change. However, recognizing these factors is the first step forward to breaking free from their influence and taking control of your life. Embracing change, even when it's difficult or uncertain, can lead to personal growth, happiness, and a more fulfilling future. It's never too late to take a step in a new direction, and doing so can be incredibly empowering. Feel the fear, do it anyway. Love that saying. I think I live by that. What next? I could not be more thrilled with the way the channel is growing and for all your messages and comments. Thank you so much. If there is a topic you'd like me to cover, put it in the comments section below and I'll add it to the list. I read and respond to every comment, apart from the rude, mean or nasty ones. I won't tolerate bullies on my channel. They get deleted and banned. Each one of these videos takes up to 20 hours to write, record and edit. So I want to make sure that I'm spending that time wisely to give you content that's most useful to you. As always, please remember to like, comment, subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a thing. Finally, thank you to everybody who watches until the very end and enjoy the rest of your day. Oh, and thanks for your continued support. It means the world to me.